Today testing really quick the new features and functions of Ozone 9, letting you know if it's actually worth upgrading, and also comparing the new automatic mastering function against the real mastering engineer. Hey guys, welcome to the vlog. It's Saturday. I'm already all done with the business stuff, so today it's about time to test out a new plugin. As I already promised a couple of times, it just took me a week to actually test it and really get to know it. And I'm of course talking about iZotope's Ozone 9. It's like the most favorite mastering tool. Even my mastering engineer is actually using it. And speaking of my mastering engineer, I just visited him 2 weeks ago to master my new single Secrets that will be released on the 1st of November. So I got that version. I will do my own mastering with Ozone, a really quick one, and compare it also against the new implemented machine learning AI automatic mastering. So definitely stay tuned until the end to compare all three. And also, by the way, I talked to him about Ozone because he was using it while mastering, and he told me he loves his analog gear and it sounds really good and he knows it for so many years. But when it comes to really precise EQing, like getting like a very small frequency band to maybe EQ a frequency that is resonating a little bit, he actually prefers, of course, to use something within the DAW because you can just like pull in and dial in way more narrow things and be way more precise if necessary. But on his master for like delimiting, the compression and the broader EQing, it's all analog gear. And he's like a really good mastering engineer. He's doing a lot of stuff with David Guetta, Robin Schulz, and a bunch of German artists no one outside of Germany anyways knows. So let's straight jump into Logic and test it. So Logic, my song Secrets, the pre-master with 6 dB of headroom, perfect for mastering. Let's just add Ozone 9. And yes, the UI changed a little bit. It looks a little bit more modern and is now also matching all of the other iZotope stuff. And as usually, we got here the plus where we can select different kind of processing for our master. We got the dynamic EQ, the dynamics, 2 equalizers, an exciter. And what's the first new thing is already the low end focus. It pretty much lets you control the low end in a very intelligent way that's really hard to describe. So let's maybe just play a little bit around with it with extreme settings so you can actually hear what it's doing. And it really helps you to change things that otherwise would be only possible if you would go back to the mixing stage.
My secrets, my secrets.
It kind of helps you to achieve more contrast in the low end by pulling down frequencies and emphasizing other frequencies. Don't ask me how it's working, but it really gives you opportunities to change things that otherwise really wouldn't be possible. Then we got the next big new one, that is the master rebalance. Here we can like isolate as far as possible in like a single audio file the vocals, the bass and the drums, and increase or decrease them. And that's like really fascinating that it actually works. It really pulls down the vocal. Of course, it also has to pull down like things that are overlapping. But if you have a proper mix of a song where the vocal should be usually like separate from everything else to be like the main thing in the song, it really works. Let's maybe try and do the other extreme and like give it 8 dB of gain.
My secrets, my secrets.
It's of course not perfect. I mean, how could it be? Because it's like doing something to the entire audio file. And I would really just use it maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 dB. 8 is like really extreme. It starts to, for example, emphasize the S sounds. So you might be able to correct it with a de-esser, but it's really also pulling out frequencies that you might not want. Let's try it with the bass. This should be also really interesting. Yeah, this one works really well. It's a lot easier to focus on the bass and emphasizes or decrease it. Let's see if it also works for the drums. That's really fascinating. I mean, I personally would always go back to the mixing stage to fix these kind of things. But if you're a mastering engineer and like all you get is this one file, then yes, use it. The Match EQ is something I personally really love. I already made entire videos about it, but really quick, you can capture the frequency response of another song, compare it to your song, and this way get a lot of insights how other people construct their songs frequency-wise. It's not like a magical tool, but maybe like 10% it can push your song into a certain direction. And I especially, like back in the days, used it a lot to actually learn which kind of frequencies in my mix are sticking out, which ones I need to emphasize, maybe where's a gap in my song. So I love to use it, especially if you don't have an acoustically treated room. Then we got a spectral shaper, the vintage compressor, a vintage EQ, a vintage limiter, vintage tape, a lot of new vintage things with the update. And the rest is pretty much the same. The biggest new feature, of course, is the new assist. And I'm really curious to know how it actually works on this song. I haven't tried it out on this one. So I think let's first delete all of these blocks. And let's see what the master assist will actually do for this song. Let's maybe loop up a bigger section. The main part makes most sense. Okay, you get a couple of settings here to make it sound modern or vintage. And also for the loudness and EQing if you want to have it in a low intensity or higher. You can even load a reference track, that's the match EQing, but we'll stay here with a medium intensity. And destination, it lets you choose between streaming and CD. I personally would go for CD. It's louder. I know there's like Spotify has like the 14 LUFS, which a lot of people master towards. But in my experience, if you do so, your song will be still quieter than everyone else's song because they're not doing that. Like Spotify pulls the tracks down, but a song that got mastered harder and louder is still denser. So I just go for loud. Not distorted, but just to be able to compete with everyone else. Anyways, next. Okay, now I just need to play it.
My secrets, too dangerous to give away. In my mind, they'll stay.
That was pretty quick. You can see the list, what it did, analyzing the audio, setting an EQ, analyzing the dynamic range. Basically what a human would also do. Now let's accept it. And it added to the song an equalizer. That's already quite interesting. It's doing minus 1.2 dB on the low end, emphasizing the mids by 1.8. and decreasing a little bit the top end by 0.5. Let's listen to it again and bypass the EQ and then add it again. Yeah, that's something I can live with. Let's check the dynamics. Also here, very subtle, just 1 to 2 dB of gain reduction. The dynamic EQ. It's trying to lower the pluggy synth in the song. A little bit too much in my opinion, because it's taking away the character. I intended it to be like the main thing of the song. Let's check the maximizer. That's also subtle, fine, but yeah, I mean, it's not doing anything extreme, which I'm actually really happy about, because I think the #1 mistake when it comes to mastering is definitely doing too much. I think the mix should be already 99% there, and the mastering is just making sure it works on all kinds of systems, making sure it has the right loudness to be distributed. And the song shouldn't change more than like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5%, just to give you an estimate. If it changes more, then please go back again to the mixing stage. So yeah, happy that it doesn't do a lot. Now, the big question is, how does this compare to the actual master by the mastering engineer in a mastering studio with someone with a lot of experience and analog outboard gear? So let's first play the one by the master assist and then the one by the mastering engineer.
In my mind they'll stay.
Yeah, I think this one is an easy one. There's like the one by the mastering engineer is a lot more extreme on the loudness and like the crispiness and like the bass punch, and it's really hard to describe. But if you listen to this on speakers or headphones, you'll immediately hear the difference. I mean, there is no automatic software that can do the same as a master engineer, because he's like fully adapting to the song, and the software is just trying to basically guess, and it does a really great job. I think this definitely beats a lot of bedroom producers that overdo it with the mastering, and I also think it beats a lot of those online where you send your song, they calculate something and send it back to you. So it's definitely a good starting point. Use the analyzing tool, play around with the settings, and then maybe dial it in further yourself. And if you need something really quick, that's also really handy. The new features where you can really emphasize the bass, the vocals, the drums is really fascinating. I absolutely loved it, especially if you're a mastering engineer. Is it worth the upgrade? That's something you have to decide for yourself. I think if you have like Ozone 8, you're totally fine, especially if you're more advanced and you actually master yourself and just go through and you're pretty good mixing. But if you're not and just starting out and you want to get the best mastering kind of possibilities, that's definitely something you should look into. If you're interested to find out more about Ozone 9 and how much it actually costs, I will link it down below, first link in the description. And also, if you've missed one of the past episodes, one was about how to finish songs, I will link it up there and at the end of the video. And also you can get free sample packs, free PDFs, that's the second link in the description if you're interested to like have something to play around with. Have a lot of fun with making music. For me, no more music for today. It's Saturday. I will go a little bit outside, enjoy like the outside. I'm always in the studio, as you know. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're interested to watch my daily vlog about me, my life as a DJ and producer. That's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Sign out.